So underneath the vehicle on the front end, you can see the oil filter there, crankshaft pulley, and look, you can actually see some, looks like coolant dripping off of the bottom edge of the timing cover there. But these are transmission cooler lines. You can see they're wet with residue. I've tried RTV on the hard line to get them to seal up better. Now these actual transmission lines from Nissan are discontinued, so I got to get some generic hose and get them to go on the fitting, and I got the proper clamps for those. Again, you can see that worm gear style hose clamp, and actually that worm gear style hose clamp, you can see a little bit of red fluid inside the little perforations or slots. You know, one of the things that I did though is I added an external transmission oil cooler on the front side of the air conditioning condenser. But you know what? That hose, I think, was probably a little bit too large in diameter, and I think that's probably why it's not sealing well. So I think I'm just going to go back to the stock oil cooler, which is actually built in to the radiator. I don't know if you can actually see, but there's a little nipple fitting on the bottom here, and a nipple fitting on the bottom over here. So I'm just going to remove that external oil cooler. I think it caused more problems just with oil leaks here, and I don't want to keep losing transmission fluid because I'm going to have to top that off. I'm going to unscrew this hose clamp, slide it off, and let the transmission fluid drip down. I've got this bulk oil hose. I'm going to fit it up just to see how it fits on that hard line and see if I like the fitment a little better. Yep, that's a much better fit, much tighter on that fitting. So I'm going to get everything cleaned up, let any oil that's still in that cooler drip down into my catch pan, and start cleaning everything off. So I'm going to clean off any oil residue on the fittings, and just for the belt and suspenders approach, I'm going to put a little oil resistant RTV on there, hoping that that'll just help seal it up, and hopefully this will at least seal it to the hard lines, maybe not the radiator, just in case I need to replace a radiator in the future. But this should help glue them on and make it a lot more leak resistant. I actually have no idea what the camera can actually see right now, and I can't actually see anything. I'm going by feel, but I'm going to just seal up both ends. So I just got 2 spring style clamps already on there. Try and push it onto that fitting. Try not to lose too much transmission fluid. I'll have to top that off when it's done. Bend the hose a little bit. Alright, so that's cut to the right dimension, and let's see these spring clamps in action. They work how I think. I'm just going to need a set of pliers to remove the clip that secures it in the open position. So I can kind of see in the hose where the kind of the nipple fitting is, and I'm going to get the clamp behind that. And there it goes. That's what I was looking for. That should seal up a lot better, having the proper size line, no longer dry rotted. I mean, this thing, 20 years old, it hasn't been touched. And it's been removed and reinstalled a number of times over the years as I've had to take radiator out for timing belt, camshafts, coolant leaks, things like that. So I'm going to do the other clamp on the other side. I honestly don't know if the camera will get it from here, but I'm going to go from the top of the engine bay. Don't know if the camera can actually pick this up, but I'm going from the top of the engine bay to get this fitting on the bottom of the radiator. Well, old clamps end up just breaking the tabs off, so I'm going to try and Dremel it off. And we got that old broken clamp off, so now we can replace that line with new fresh clamps. So the stock hose was molded into this kind of L shape. I'm not sure the best way to use a bulk hose because it's It's on a spool, so it's got a little bit of a curve to it, and I don't know if that's going to help me or hurt me, really. It's almost like it's got to have a twist to it. Alright, I think this is a better length for it. I like to use wire cutters on hoses, fuel line, things like that. Alright, same process as before, a little RTV on these things, and I'm expecting them to never leak again. This is one of those dirty, oily, grimy type jobs, even though it's not that invasive. It's fairly straightforward and simple, but I just said it's not worth trying to keep my hands clean. There's just no way that's going to happen. So embrace the grime for this one, I guess. Plenty of overlap there. Grab my lineman pliers and wonderful. Alright, we should have some very robustly sealed transmission lines here. Fresh clamps, fresh hoses, RTV on the joints. I think I'm done dripping transmission fluid.